cord. All right, all right. So for those who are watching on the replay, we just set our mission, we just set our vision. Now we are hopping in to our lesson this evening. And so I just want to take a moment and remind us again, we're talking about culture shift. And so we have to talk about what is culture. What is culture? It is that shared attitudes, the expectation, and practices that share how we live, work, and worship together. It shows up in the way that we lead, that we communicate, and the values that we embody in our worship, right? So as we lead, remember, there are so many different ways you can lead, but we favor a servant leadership model that you can't ever be too big to serve, right? Can't ever be too big to serve. If serving is beneath you, then leading is beyond you. So we believe in people serving one another. We communicate, right? We talk things out. We have a problem with someone. We do what the Bible says. If you have a problem with a brother or your sister, you don't go talk about them, right? You go talk to them. And then if you can't work it out, then you need to bring somebody else in. All right. All right. Y'all follow with me here. And so that's how we communicate. And even on the positive spectrum, remember, as much as possible, we want to be as communicative as possible. So we know that we let other people know that we don't just leave them or drop them, but we actually care about them. Then the values that we embody in our worship, that we worship all together in the spirit of unity, that we don't sit in the back and wait till it's our turn to worship. We don't wait till it's our microphone to feel the spirit, right? We participate. We lift up our hands. We sing. We cry. We worship God together in the spirit of holiness. All right. And last week we laid out our core values. And so these core values, these pillars is what helps to sustain us. Remember that Jesus Christ is our foundation. The mission is our covering, right? The mission and the vision is our covering. But the core values are the pillars that keep us up. That we want to operate in the spirit of grace, in empathy, radical generosity, excellence. Somebody really needs to hold on to that one. Excellence, intentional relationships, and spirit-led action. So now that you've had a week to kind of hold these in or take these in and maybe think about it, or maybe you've even had conversations, I want to take a moment, maybe hear from two of us or so. Which of these core values do you feel you need to grow the most? Which of these core values do you feel you most need to grow?
Pastor Eley,
Yes, Dr.
this
Spivey.
is Viola. I would say in the the core value of excellence, uh, I definitely want to always do my best for God. I always seek Him for confirmation and affirmation and so forth when it comes to presentation and preparation and practice. However, that old adage, good, better, best, never let it rest until
Yeah,
our
yeah.
good is better and our better is best.
Yes, sir.
And when God said it was good, then it was very good. I just want to be pleasing to God and very good. I'm aspiring to the excellent model.
That's good.
Amen.
That's good. Thank you for that. I see Imani and Lynette say grace. Imani also said radical generosity. Someone else said intentional relationship. Sister Serena said excellence. Reverend Nako, spirit-led action. Chanel, intentional relationships. Yeah. That's good. That's good. And it's no shame, right? It's no problem and saying, I need to grow, right? We all need to grow. The moment we stop growing, that's the problem. Right? The moment we stop growing, that's the problem. I think for me, the areas that I still need to grow in is intentional relationships, right? Because I think sometimes it's easy when you're moving fast to serve people, but not necessarily build relationship with people, right? When there's a lot going on, right? Juggling a lot of things, have a lot of hats on, and so I want to do better with having these relationships. But I think part of what my observation has been of the past of myself, why I struggle, is because I've seen people sit with you and be in proximity to you, and then use that against you, you know. And so that's not a good feeling. So that's something that I have to work to overcome. Same thing with empathy. Sometimes, I look at things, I'm like, hey, I don't know about them. Right? I'm just being honest, I'm just being real, right? Being real. But I want to be able to see people the way that Christ sees people, right? Those are the things that we want. I love that people are saying excellence. I love that, right? That you realize that, and that you want to move beyond that. Let me say with excellence as well. Remember, it's not perfection, right? Excellence is not perfection. All right. And so we want to do it well, not perfect. Okay. All right. So thank you all for putting that in the chat. We're going to continue to grow in these areas. All right. So tonight to set the framework of the next part of our culture shift, I want to talk about the plan of retention. The plan of retention. And we're going to talk about it through curiosity, connection, and care. All right. So maybe I just adopt it like this. It's going to be our C3 model. All right. Curiosity, connection, and care. So I was looking through, Mr. Lori Moss, you can help me out. But if my numbers are correct, since October 2024, 150 people now have united with our church. Amen. That's excellent. That's beautiful. Somebody's celebrating right now. Somebody just said, wow. Somebody is like, no way, he's lying. No, I promise you. I tried my best to write it down. We even had someone join. We had two people join the church online. I think it was on Sunday and then Monday. So literally, as the gospel of Jesus Christ is being preached, God is bringing more souls. That's great. All right. 150 people have united with our church since October 2024. But watch this. Here's my thing to you. So what? So what? 150 people have come. So what? All right. The question is, how do we ensure that they stay, that they grow, and that they thrive? Those are the three things we're going to explore right now. How do we ensure that people stay, they grow, and they thrive? Right? And so it doesn't matter if you're one of my 150 or if you're one of the OGs, right? From the Holloway days, or from the Farrar days, or from the Stokes days, right? From whatever day you come from, if you're here and you're staying, how do you grow, and then how do you thrive? Let's talk about this. I want to talk about the challenge behind this celebration. Here's what the statistics say, that 30 to 40% of new members remain actively involved after the first year, unless intentional steps are taken. But with strong relational connections, retention can climb to 70 to 80%. Now again, one of our folks, Reverend Jones or Miss Lori Moss, can help me. She just had one of those names. You have to say the first and last name together, right? But they can help me. But I think out of that 150, over 120 of them have actually received the right hand of fellowship. That means that we are doing very well statistically and people going through the process of becoming members and not just walking down the aisle and disappearing. We have to then work on how do we make sure that people stay connected, because we understand folks won't come to church every Sunday, but that does not mean, right? That does not mean that they are not still a part of the church. All right, let's go. Here's one of the ways. If you notice, or maybe you haven't, when we do what we're calling now the fist bump fellowship, what do I typically ask of you to do? Yeah, I ask you to go greet somebody, but what else do I ask of you to do? Does anybody know? Does anybody catch it? I say to go find what? To go find what?
Somebody different, like a new person or something, somebody you don't know. And
Uh-huh.
this is
And then
LJ, sorry.
somebody you don't know. And then sometimes I say it, sometimes I don't say it, but I will say what Reverend Jones just said. Someone's who name you don't know and introduce yourself. Right? So and you know, typically I say three, but you know how it is when you start moving around, you're gonna hit more than three. Why? This is intentional because it is called the rule of eight. That if I know eight names of people in my church, the statistics say that the likelihood of someone leaving dramatically decreases, which means that we have a better chance at keeping people because they know their name. As much as possible, when I call people out from up in the pulpit, I try to, if I can remember in that moment, I try to remember what? Their name. The reason why we print people's pictures out and place them on the board, and we're getting ready to throw another board up on the wall because God has just been blessing us, right? So on two sides, when you walk out, you will see names and pictures. Is because when you can put pictures with names, it means a difference, right? So I want you to know the names of eight people in the church. I want you to do that, right? Even the guests, because our guests are starting to slide in and they don't even stand up no more, right? Because they've been there 3 and 4 and 5 times. So I want you to really be intentional about knowing people's names. Ask people, what's your name? You know, what's your name? And tell them what your name is. All right. This is going to help us to build this culture of belonging. Now, our C3 model right here, our C3 model is that there are three anchors of retention. It is curiosity, connection, and care. And that's where we're going to be talking about through our Bible study tonight, that care piece. I want you to be curious about people. I want you to know that curiosity is the first step toward connection. So, in other words, when you ask thoughtful questions that show genuine interest, it opens up the door, right, to good relationship. But curiosity must be balanced with sensitivity because people should feel welcomed, not interrogated. All right, what do I mean? All right, let's say you one of the OGs, you've been here for a while. Here's what you don't do. What you don't do is walk up on people and say, and who are you? Come on. Somebody talk to me on this online church. Somebody talk to me on the virtual shit. You don't say, you know, and your name is, right? No. You're wrong. You're out of order. You're out of order. Let me help you. What you're supposed to say is, hey, my name is so and so. I've been seeing you around, or you know, our church is just growing so fast. Are you a member? You are. What's your name again? Right? That shows curiosity. It shows that you were intentional about the way that you chose to approach somebody, right? You don't pull up on folk and be like, I've been here this long. Who cares? You don't pull up on folks and be like, oh, you know, I do this or I do that. Who cares? All right. No, that's not what we do here. And if that's what you've been doing, God bless your heart. You are operating in ignorance. But God has freed you tonight. All right. And you know now that the way that we go about it is that we are intentional. Reverend Jones said, "What's an OG?" Someone who's been around a long time. Somebody who's been around a long time. Original, original. All right. All right. Here's the next part. So connection, connection. So if you start noticing some of the same people showing up, and we're creatures of habit, for the most part, we sit in the same places. Like I kind of know if the Williams family is here, like Sean Williams, George, right? I kind of know if they're here because they kind of sit over here. Like if I'm standing in the pulpit, they sit over here. I know if the Allens are here because they sit on the second row right over here to the side, right? I know if there's a visitor, she's been visiting for a long time, and she comes with her son. She hasn't came yet, but she kind of sits in the back over here. Or like I know where the Hartsfields are. I know where the Willises are. They're over here on this side when I'm standing at the podium, right? You kind of will get to know who is around you. If you're noticing them, speak. Huh? Speak to them. All right, speak to people. All right, as you're walking in, you're walking around, you're waiting in line to talk to me or whoever. Speak to the people around you, right? Let's show that connection. Ask them, hey man, you watching the game? Or hey man, what you got going on? Hey, what do you do? Right? Having that connection makes people feel good. It makes them want to come back because they say they saw me, right? And especially with our new members, if you notice on Sunday, we started not just saying their name, but we also said their deacon team. Why? Because everybody in the church is organized on a deacon team. And so if you hear your deacon team name and you see them come forward, you ought to make the intentional effort to go speak to them and say, hey, so and so, we on the same deacon team. Welcome. Right? That's connection. That's connection. And then care. All right. I think I hear Deacon Sneeze say it all the time, and Deacon Moss. Nobody cares how much you know. They care about how much you care. Right? We want to be that church that people care. Same thing. People don't remember what you say all the time. They don't always remember what they did. Come on, Maya Angelou. But they remember the way that you made them feel. People will stay because they feel cared for. And so when we're moving into this care system that we are looking to develop and to strengthen, it ensures that no one feels like just a number. Now, I need everybody for just a moment as we are switching into our biblical text for just a moment. I need you to really help me all in the comments. Thank God for our deacons. Please help me. Thank God for our deacons, because our deacons have a list that is growing so quickly, and they reach out, right? They follow up with those who are sick. Come on. They go out and they take people places. They come out of their own pockets. They make sure that they're cared for. They help us know when people need help with a light bill or whatever, right? Thank God for our deacons. But can I tell you this? With a church that's growing like ours, we have a problem. We only have 7 deacons. Right? The average deacon has like 70 people, 60 some people on their list. That's a lot of people to care for. Right? So thank y'all for helping me. Thank God for our deacons. But then I'd be crazy if we didn't thank God for the deacons' wives. Come on, deacons' wives. That's why it's a team. So help me thank God for the deacons' wives, right? Because together they've made 7 become 14. We thank God for that. The women a lot of times minister to the women, and the men minister to the men, and together they minister to married couples. That's a blessing to me, because guess what? I can talk to you, but I ain't never been married. Huh? And certain things I can't tell you, right? Besides, the wife is always right. Ain't that what right? So thank God for our deacons and their deacons and our deacons' wives. All right. Let's go because I don't want time to move on us too fast. All right, let's go here. So remember this that we are learning this framework. That our learning framework is this, that we are building some things, but everything that we are building ought to be able to be sustained. That if we cannot sustain it, I'm telling you, we shouldn't do it. All right. So we are building, we're laying the foundation, and then we are sustaining. I tell you what, I do have a tad more time than I thought. Let's back up here. I want to hear from a couple of y'all. What are some ways that we can express curiosity towards new members so they feel valued and seen without coming across as territorial or intrusive? I'm gonna read it one more time. What are some ways we can express curiosity towards new members so they feel valued and seen without coming across as territorial or intrusive? Somebody help us tonight.
Pastor,
Yes.
I found one of the best ways to open a person up
Uh-huh.
is to ask them what they do and what is it that gives them passion. What do you enjoy doing?
Yeah.
And most people have what they think is a hobby that really excites them, and they start there and you move on.
That's good. I like that strategy. All right, somebody else. Somebody else.
Uh, Maybe just greeting them with a smile and inviting them to upcoming church events, or maybe going out on an outing with them.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you that's the biggest thing. A smile. Just smiling at them. Not creepy, like no. But a true, genuine smile, acknowledging their presence, right? Inviting them out, all those good things. That's good. Somebody else.
Asking how they
I think I heard you say asking how they're doing. Yes. Yes, absolutely. 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 Right? When you show concern and care towards someone else, right? Again, it makes them say, I feel seen. Mhm. Um, when you can find a connection, when you can make a connection with somebody, that's really good. All right. Here's another one, a
Oh,
compliment. Yeah. Go ahead, somebody.
I was gonna say a compliment.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, a
I would,
compliment. That's one of the quickest way to get somebody cheesing, feeling good, especially when you might be stretching that compliment a little bit. It's fine. It helps their self-esteem, build folk up, right? Ooh, woo, man, them shoes is bad. I mean, that crocodile is crocodiling, right? God, go ahead. What you know about that? You don't know nothing about that, right? When you juice them up a little bit, it make people feel good, right? Then you start to see what they value and you hold on to that. All right. Uh, yeah, creating a safe space. So good to see you today. Yeah, absolutely. That's good.
Pastor,
Yes.
that's one of the things I do. I always smile and I always try to give a compliment. And then I ask them if it's like after service or something. I ask them, I always ask how they doing. And I ask them, did you enjoy the service today? The Spirit of the Lord was sweet. And a lot of times people open up about how they enjoyed the service and they'll end up talking a little more.
Yep.
It's just giving them time to open. And so, but I always do that smile and have a compliment because everybody want to feel good about themselves. And, if they look good, let them know they look good. Give people compliments. It's always a blessing to be a blessing.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's why I end every service with I love you and there's nothing you can do about it. There are people who go a whole week and don't hear anybody tell them that they love them. right? You don't know what might seem small or insignificant to you could be the biggest thing for someone else, right? People are in such fragile spaces that it doesn't hurt to be nice or to be kind to anybody. It don't hurt. It don't hurt. So let's keep doing that. One of the things that I hear from new members is how nice people are, right? That won't always the case. I used to play with us sometimes. Like, when I first got here, some of y'all was mean to a brother, right? But I stayed though, because I'm mature, right? I know you just didn't know no better. But I'm grateful that's not the narrative that we are hearing, right? That we are hearing that this church is living up to its name. It's friendly. It's friendship. All right. All right. Let's get to the Bible tonight. There's some good stuff in here. I want us to get to Exodus chapter 18. We're really focusing on some intentional discipleship, and we are focusing on care, right? Caring for one another. Exodus chapter 18. Exodus chapter 18. Let's take a moment. Let's get there. As you're getting there, I want to share some things with you about our historical and the cultural context and some other observations that is in here. So I want you to understand. I want you to understand that Moses has this burden as a leader. So in a sense, I'm kind of giving y'all a leader advance tonight. Moses has a burden as a leader that Israel has been liberated, right? And they are growing so fast that later on in Exodus, or earlier in Exodus, it mentions that it's about 600,000 men. And remember, in the biblical times, during this time, they didn't really talk much about women. They didn't talk about much about children. That's just kind of how it was. So if it was 600,000 men, it is believed that Moses was over potentially as much as 2 million people. Good God Almighty. All right, 2 million people. Now, to understand about Moses, right? We know much about Moses' narrative about how he was born and the things that he did and how he ended up where he was. But we also might forget that Moses had another job. Not only was he a spiritual leader, but he was a judge. And so because he was a judge, he was really big on governance. All right. And with that, his father-in-law, Jethro, is saying, hey, homeboy, you can't necessarily run this nation, right? You can't necessarily run this tribe of people like you run your court system. And so he tells them that you've got to do something about this. All right. You have to do something about this. And this is really important because Jethro is not just his father-in-law, but Jethro is a priest, right? He is a priest. And with that, his wisdom comes not only from life experience, but it comes from inspiration from God, right? We all need some people, no matter what tier of leadership that we find ourselves in, that is able to look into what we're doing and to give us suggestions on the way that we need to go. All right, let's go Matthew chapter 18, verse 13. Let's read a little bit. Here we go. And so it says, the next day, Moses sat as judge for the people, while the people stood around him from morning until evening. When Moses' father-in-law saw all that he was doing for the people, he said, what is this that you are doing for the people? I need somebody to highlight that. Where my highlighter at? I need somebody to highlight that because I ain't see that when I was going over it the first time. Highlight that part. For the people. What are you doing for the people? Then he says, why do you sit alone while all the people standing around you from morning until evening? Moses said to his father-in-law, because the people came to me to inquire of God. When they have a dispute, they come to me, and I decide between one person and another, and I make known to them the statutes and the instructions of God. Now listen, we got some things here. We got some things here already, guys. That when you see what's going on, we could inquire that Moses might have a little bit of a savior complex. That Moses is so wise, he's so smart, he's used to being the solution, that he doesn't see that if you're always the only person who's the solution, you will eventually become the bottleneck. Are y'all taking notes? Are y'all taking notes? If you're the sole person for anything, you will eventually become the bottleneck. Jethro sees this. And look at this. Look at this. I believe that Moses has really well intentions. Why? Because he's saying, I'm doing it for the people. I'm doing this for the people. I'm doing that for the people. If the people keep coming to me, I have to give the people what they need. That's only the right thing to do. But look at what Jethro then says to him. Look at what Jethro says to him. Watch this. He says, what you are doing is not good. Can I help somebody tonight? Can I help somebody tonight? If you are the only person working your ministry, it's not good. If you are the only person that is leading and knows what they're doing, it's not good. Can I help you? Because the word of God, right, is a double-edged sword. It cuts going in and it cuts going out. Can I tell you, this cut me a little bit because I had to sit with myself and think, what are the areas that I have taken on my own? Me. I'm just talking about me now. What are the areas that I've taken on my own? And in taking these things on, though I say it's for you, the people, what I'm actually doing is setting up a unhealthy system of your over reliance and over dependence on me. Am I talking right tonight or what? Were y'all ready for this tonight? Or this too real? Is this too real? If everything always got to come back to me, we're not going to grow but so much. Right? Right? If every time a decision can't be made without me, I'm not picking on nobody. I'm just saying some stuff. What colors should we wear for the choir anniversary? What? How should we do XYZ? I don't know. That's your area. Just do it. Right? And so let me help you. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to make sure that this is good, right? Nothing wrong with proofing. Nothing wrong with that. But every little decision I don't have to make. You as leaders, servant leaders, are empowered to make decision, right? You make the decision, then come to me. And then most likely I'm going to say, you good, run, go. And then what's going to happen is, as you get into the rhythm of making decision, and we are in the rhythm of communication, I will trust you on your leadership, right? And you will begin to build more faith in your own leadership, that you won't feel like that you got to come to me with every little thing. All right, Jethro tells him, this is not good. He says this, you will surely wear yourself out. Why? Watch this. He says, both you and these people with you, for the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone. I need y'all to catch this. Moses is making the decisions, but the people are going to get worn out. Can y'all hear this? Moses has to make all the decisions. He will get worn out, but then the people will get worn out. Why? Because you will have what I call fatigue in waiting. That eventually your fatigue in waiting is going to turn into resentment, and then it's going to cause you to go somewhere else. It's going to cause you to abandon what God has given you. Right? A lot of people who are on this call, people who are in our church, and they're not on the call, maybe they're watching later on. You are bosses in real life, but you don't want to be a boss at church, huh? What? Some of you have leadership skills that are amazing, but you don't operate it in at church, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right, I'm calling, I'm talking to us like we besties. All right, so don't get offended. Don't get offended tonight. Right, here's for I should have rated this MA, mature audience only. All right, and so he says to him that this ain't good. Y'all gonna wear yourselves out. He said that this is too heavy for you. You can't do it alone. Can I tell you that the goal initially was 125 new members within the first year, the first calendar year of being pastor? Well, I've seen that next year we're going for 200 people. Now, our church has done audits. We've done all these things for our membership. We like 400 members right now. So if from next year, we're going to go from 400 to 600, can I tell you, this too much. And I will not do it by myself. This too much, and I will not do it by myself, right? That I'm going to need the help of the saints to be able to get this done, because it's what God requires, right? It's what God requires of us. All right, let's keep pushing. Let's keep pushing. All right, he says, now listen to me. I will give you counsel, and God be with you. You should represent the people before God and bring their cases to God. Teach them the statutes and instructions, and make known to them the way they are to go and the things they are to do. You shall also look for able men among the people, men who fear God, are trustworthy, hate dishonest gain, set them as officers. All right, let's back this up a little bit. So my job is to stay before God. That's one of the most powerful things that I can do as your pastor, as your shepherd. My job is to stay before God, because God will speak to me about things, right? And then I bring it to you. But then the second part of my job is, I don't know, what's our mission statement? Equip, AKA teach, make sure you know what you're supposed to be doing. The second part of my job is to teach you, right? That's why I need you here on Bible study. That's why I need you to pay attention on Sunday morning, right? That's why we have to have conversations outside of church. Hit me up. Let's go get a coffee. Brothers, let's go get some wings, right? I want to teach you. I want to teach you how to do this. Watch this, the way that God is leading me. Not because my way is the best way, but it's because God is leading me in a certain way. So I need you to be in order. If you're not doing it the way God is leading me, you're going to miss it. And then we're going to miss it. And then we're going to sit around and be like, what happened? You ain't followed a leader, right? You get what I'm saying? So my job is to teach you. I want to teach you how to do it. That's why for our servant leaders, we just put together a handbook that if you go in the servant leaders resource section on Church Center, you will see this handbook. Go through that handbook, right? You're going to see what it is that we're about, what it is that we stand for, what are the things that we are doing. We're in the process very soon of putting together SOPs for our church, standard operating procedures, so that we're not making up protocols and making up different things. And all. Everybody will know this is the standard. This is how we do things here, right? And when you do that, you have order. And when you have order, the Spirit of God flows, right? That's governance. That's what God wants. All right. Let's keep rolling. So he says, then you got to find some people that have some good skill sets and qualities about them. Now, again, this time was talking about men, but now it's 2025. Women are able to. Amen. So you need some good women, some good men who are able to be over some people, right? You got to set them up as thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Why? Because everybody can't handle 50 people. But you have some people who can handle 10. Everybody can't handle 100 people. But some people can't, but they can handle 50, right? You get what I'm saying? Our church will get to a place one day. We're going to see thousands of people, right? One way or another, we're going to see thousands of people. But guess what? We got to have the right people who are equipped for that. Then it said, let them sit as the judges for the people at all times. Let them bring every important case to you, but decide every minor case themselves, right? So, which means that everything, you don't got to pick up the phone, call me for everything. That's what we have deacons for, right? Call and talk to your deacons. If the deacons aren't sure, they'll call me. Are y'all following with me, right? Call your trustee. That's cool. Do that. If they don't know, they'll call me, right? That's how we're going to be able to be sustained. All right. It shouldn't be, I gotta go pass it. Patty said, Patty. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Because that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Are y'all hearing my heart tonight? Are you following the word tonight? If you're with me, can I see if you're with me tonight? Right here, not too much, is it? It's not too much. I see people still on. Okay, good. Good. All right. So watch this. If Dr. Marion says something, go with it. Don't back up and be like, well, let me go verify with the pastor. Mm-mm. If Deacon Moss says something, Bro Grant says something, Miss Norma says something, Sister Vicky says something, Val Holloway say something, go with it. Right? They are the leaders. They are the leaders. They are the leaders. You can trust them. I have put, in a sense, my hand on them. Because watch this. If they say something that's wrong, then I got to deal with it. Mm-hmm. If they go off the rail, they done. Right? Y'all following what I'm saying here? But you got to go with them. Anytime you go around someone's authority, you're messing up the order. You messing up the structure. Reverend Jones say something, go with it. Are y'all following me today? Right? These are the leaders. All right. So I need you to follow in place. I need you to follow the leaders. All right, let's go. Because watch this. What did he says? So it will be easier for you. Thank you, Jesus. And they will bear the burden with you. Right? So a lot of these leaders, if I don't talk to them every day, most of them, I have times when we talk once a week at least. Why? Because we're doing it together, right? We're lockstep together, which means you can't, some of y'all are not that smart. I'm going to be honest with you, because you will go and try to tell one person one thing to somebody, and then you're going to act like it don't get back to me. Too much, too bad, right? That's not smart, because I don't operate like that where we have secrets. We do transparency around here, right? That's the way I lead. That's why I'll tell you what it is. So don't go try to tell something to somebody else and don't think it's not gonna get bad. But see, because we mature, I ain't gonna treat you different though. I still love you. I just say they're a little slow, right? And God got them. Somebody say amen. Right? You get what I'm trying to tell you? So God is working with us, right? He's working with us so that we can bear this burden one another. And then look at what Jethro says, and I need you to get this. It says, if you do this and God so commands you, then you will be able to endure. And all these people will go to their homes in peace. If you follow the lead, if you follow the structure, if you pay attention to your deacons, your trustees, me when I talk, right, in these moments, you're going to have peace in your home. You're going to have peace in your life, right? And then guess what? You're going to help me so that these gray hairs on my face don't get as gray as quick. Right? I want to be here for 34 more years, but I can't if you don't fall into alignment, right? If you don't follow the structure. Are y'all following with me tonight? Y'all with me? All right. So Moses, look at what he did. He listened to his father-in-law. He did all that he had said. And Moses chose people who were able, and they judged the people at all times. And the hard cases they brought to Moses. But any minor case, they decided themselves. Then Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went off to his own country. I'm so grateful that Dr. Holloway has trusted me with this church. Now, as we're about to approach a year of being here, we got to continue to keep on shifting, right? We got to continue on, right? To do what it is that God is leading, because we're growing and it's not stopping no time soon, right? And the growth is not just in person. The growth is online. The growth not just online, it's within our spirits, it's within ourselves. God is going to use some of you to be catalysts for this growth and for this change. So here's what I want to see. Here's what I want to see within here. How many of you, when you look at this story, do you see yourself as Moses, who's overloaded? Do you see yourself as Jethro, who is advising? Or do you see yourself as the people who's waiting to be cared for? If Moses type of 1, if Jethro type of 2, if you're like the people waiting to be cared for type of 3. Moses like a 1, Jethro advising type 2, or you people waiting to be cared for 3. Let me see. Mm, mm, mm. A lot of 2s. A lot of 2s. I see 3s. See 3s. 1s. 1s. Yeah. 2s. 1 and 2. 2, sometimes 3. Okay. So let me say this. The fact that there aren't like an overwhelming part of the 3 tells me that people feel, or they are, that they are being cared for. That's really good, right? That people feel that way. But as we continue to grow, to sustain that sense of care, some things we're going to have to continue to shift. Now, for those who are the number 2s, thank God for you. We need you, right? We need you to advise the next generation. But watch this. We need you to advise new people, right? New people in our church to say, hey, let me kind of guide you through this. Let me kind of guide you through that. Not because I think I know it all, but because I've been there a little bit, right? I've been there, done that. Let me share some things. But just be mindful that in the advisement to not shut people down. Not to say that you do. I just want to give that friendly reminder. Just don't shut people down. Because, sometimes folks are new and then they're excited. And then they're like, oh, we should do this. First thing they say, we did that in the past and that didn't work. Well, was there a reason why it didn't work in the past? Was it executed right? Did you not have the right people for it? right? Like there might have been a reason why it didn't work in the past. It might work now, right? Or you can say, well, let me show you when we thought that back then, you know, this and this and this and this happened. Okay, maybe it might be different now, or maybe we need to adapt the strategy, and I'm willing to walk with you until you get it, and then I'll move on out the way, right? Right, just like Jethro, he walked with Moses until he got it, and then he went on back home, right? For those who are like number one and you're overloaded, what I want us to really focus on is how do we avoid burnout? Because yes, working for the Lord is great, but if you're doing too much, you will burn out. And you'll think that your season is done when you're burnt out, right? You'll think, oh, I done all I could do. I done what I'm supposed to do. But no, you're just burnt out, right? I want to help remove the burden off of you. And that's also helping you to see that maybe part of this burden you place on yourself. So it's okay to let some things go. All right, let's roll. Let's roll here. So I want to help move us. I want to really help us move into this shared leadership model, right? This shared leadership model. And with this shared leadership model, here's what ends up happening, and here's what it means for us, is that I'm looking at each person, especially if you on Bible study for real, you probably serious, right? You a leader, or guess what? There's a leader on the inside of you, or there's an even greater leader that's there that you don't realize is there, but it's being cultivated through the lessons, through the teachings, through your devotion, your prayer time, all that stuff. These are some things that I want to share with you on where we're going and slash what we have to do. So I want to look at this, is that as we move into 2026, we want to start looking at groups, right? So it's going to be like 4 groups, and you'll hear more about it Vision Night. Y'all know how we like to lay it out. Everybody going to know what's up. But like one of the group categories is going to be care groups, where and we're talking with the deacons about it. It's not finalized, but it's going to get there, where we're going to have congregational care leaders whose job is to help take up the burden with caring for our membership, right? And not just the sick members, not just the members who've been here, but everybody. And what we really see it, and thank you, Sister Michelle Yarborough, who helped us get here, is this white glove discipleship type service, where if you're a care leader, you might have 25 people on your caseload, so to say, right? And you're going to be working underneath a deacon, so that you, right, it's just like we had these denominations here, you might have 25 or 10 or 15. Right. Then you got your deacon, and then after the deacon, it's the pastor. All right. Y'all see how we're putting that hierarchy into place? Well, here's your job as a care leader. Hey, brother so-and-so, hey, we're so glad that you joined the church. Let's find you somewhere to serve. And you walk with that person and help them find where they plug into the church. Right? Hey, brother so-and-so, don't forget we got Bible study tonight. Matter of fact, hey, check your text real quick. I went ahead and sent you the text. Right? Boom. I went ahead and sent you that link. Okay, cool. Yeah. I'll be on Bible study. Right? A care leader is I need some support walking through this. I want to talk to this. Or watch this. This is happening in my family. Do you know of resources? Yeah, our care leaders are well resourced with different resources, not only in our church, but in our community. Y'all following what I'm saying here? And they will build their own culture. They'll build their own bond. And then what ends up happening as we continue to grow, certain care leaders may be elevated, right, in other areas, right, because they have shown that they can care for the people. How that sound, to you? Kind of moving in, right? This ought to sound pretty decent, right? That ought to sound pretty decent. Here's the other part, is the systems. So we need systems, not just good intentions. All right. So when we have these systems in place, it's going to remember that every person is remembered, that the birthdays are remembered, anniversaries are remembered. Watch this. Death dates are remembered. That in a year from now, when that death anniversary comes up, you're getting a call, you're getting a text saying, hey, we're remembering you today. All right. But here's the main part that we can start working on right now is having a mutual care culture that everybody in this church cares about somebody. That it is a mutual responsibility that we take ownership of one another. And that's how the church becomes a true family. All right. Here's a question for us as we're closing out tonight. How would our church feel different if everyone took ownership of caring for one another? Let me hear from one or two people. How would our church feel different if everyone took ownership of caring for one another?
No one in the church would feel lonely or like a visitor or guest.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody else.
They would
There
not,
would be,
I'm sorry,
uh,
they would not easily leave to go somewhere else or not come to church.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I
there would
think
be more. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I think people feel more a part of it. They feel like someone cares. Many people, not just one or two, but many people care. You know, the church cares as a whole because we're a church family. We're not just here; we're a family.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Pastor Mike, the unity will go out the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
again, about that concept, people remember how we make them feel. And when they feel cared for, they feel like we are real, authentic Christians.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm looking at these comments. These comments, if y'all not checking them out in the chat, I mean, these are strong. These are good, right? That's where we want to be. And I like this one right here. Would be eager to serve, right? Because it would feel weird to not serve. Right. And if you are somewhere and if you are around people who you feel like care about you, then guess what's gonna happen? You are going to help perpetuate that. And then when you notice that people act like they don't care, you will be the one to say, hey, that's not what we do here.
Mm.
That's not what we do here.
Mm.
And see, that's the power of culture because culture shifts us from personal attacks to institutional identity. Right. So that if we're seeing people and it's like, that's not an excellence, you're able to say, hey, my brother, my friend, my sister, we appreciate that, but was that your best? Right. If that's not your best, we don't want that. That's not what we do here. So that way you're not just going at the people and the people, I'm offended. I'm offended because they don't like me. No, it's not that they don't like you. It's we're upholding a standard. Right? That excellence is our standard. Right? That caring for people is our standard. That generosity, radical generosity is our standard. That's what we do. And I think I heard Reverend Jones say at one time, that's friendship. Right? That we want to be able to make sure that as we're shifting this culture, that's what we're saying. All right. All right. That's where we're going. Okay. So here's my question for some of you who are on the line tonight. Is God calling? Right? How is God calling you to care? Is it to care for people with hands-on support? Or is it to care about people with heartfelt concern? And so if you have an interest in being a congregational care leader, sometime next year after some training and background checks, all that stuff, right? We got to check you out. Make sure you right now. All right. But if that's you and you feel like, that's what God is calling you to, I would love to talk to you. right? We'll put out information soon. We're gonna have an interest meeting, all that type of stuff once we get it all solidified. But I would love to talk to you. Or I want you to pray about it. See, do you actually have the capacity, the time, the bandwidth to be able to care for other people? All right. And to be able to work with our wonderful deacons and their wives. All right. All right. So I just want to remind you that September the 14th, that is our